market. So the restriction by the central
FGN savings bunch and 20
no manners, 0 plus 1,000 trousers. Show up empty. We are making go to Malian dance. Show it MBG. Master, no, I no welcome. Hello. I'm on Rawa. I'm on Rawa. Open my great. I'm on Rawa. Malowa. Malowa. Oh, one level. Malowa. Filiela Puta. Baby girl, you are Puta.
It will pain you. Your stomach will pain you. What did you do? It's pain.
Don't do like that. This one drive past this.
Yes.
Everybody is a pancake, pancake. Ooh.
Yeah, mommy, I think this is.
Yes.
You didn't have any.
Super what? Permission to do what? Remove your hand. I say, if anybody is to eat from this food,
Hello, please, I'm testing my mic. Can anyone hear me?
Oh, tirelessly. The rest of you are just coming to eat.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Testing mic, testing mic.
Mic is working.
Something like fried egg. Ooh, my Geo white girl. On the lights.
One pray attack.
Go and put your baby. Nice.
This is our dessert. This is the dessert.
Oh, you sit down here now. What? What you want to eat? No, use drink or milk. No, use cold tea. Cold milk. Oh, everybody is eating up.
So just sit there. Just sit there. And I'm going to do what is your love video? Really? It's your love video. Anytime you can, you should just give me a heads up. Next week. Next week when? Okay, because I think next Saturday, Sunday, I have an engagement. Maybe no, Saturday, I will say on Saturday. And
What has happened?
the thing is, I would like it to be a Saturday or a Sunday. So, but it's next week. Okay.
Did the training start yet?
I don't think so.
So what did you say? No, so on this Friday. Yeah. So on this Friday. So I'll be on Friday and then I'll make arrangements on Friday. Yes.
Getting in this time also.
Okay, sure. Pay. I know pay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to, I'm wasting my data. I'm afraid that the meeting will start 7.
Why you logged on? You've logged on.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's a waste of data. Just
I want to leave.
You want to stand there.
Put this one in their hand. Say, put this one in their hand now. You know that prepared you. That's it.
Oh, no. Sorry. Come.
I don't should I can't lock it anymore.
I said, shit.
You look them very my niece and my nephew. When
Please, training organizer. What happened? We are joined the training, but we don't know what happened.
Hello, sir. Take spoon.
Everything is for you.
Hello. What happened? 30 minutes ago. What happened, please? Mm.
I just didn't want it to be oily. Say no oil.
Better like this.
Can organizer tell us what's happened?
I don't
I will give you.
think it's supposed to start in about
But
20
he said he
minutes.
was going to start by 8. Yes, about 20 minutes.
Hello, what's happened? Please tell us. We wish to attend this training, but we are talking
I can hear
more.
you, sir. But I don't think it's time yet.
Straight to the city. Straight to the city is very.
I will leave and come back.
You are started again. Stop it. Go and bathe. Or you bring wife.
The background noise is too much.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah. I'm getting you. Thank you.
Better.
If we are to enjoy this training, we have to avoid the background noise.
Sure.
If you
said what?
are just don't trust yourself.
There's one extra class.
Manager, can you mute all the noise automatically if it's possible? But because there is some people are talking more than.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
This
Hello, everyone.
What? Hmm? Oh, yeah. What you do? Change it. Put it back. Fast.
MasterClass on the beat.
I just they celebrate. Everything I do, we just they penetrate. Oh, I just want to say, oh, thank you, Jehovah. See, I'm living large, I get angels so for my ghetto. Never forget where I come from. Not from ghetto. No, 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 no. I just want to say, oh, thank you, Jehovah. Ure Kennedy, what to go, Father, 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 Adekwamu, no, ya, no, Father, 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 Ema Putirogu, one lebele, one day you must go. Brother, you know. Don't you be still already know. Him I know now yellow oh now yellow me gon get to ya man I rap balumbu tungese hese asahu balumbu tunga ko ya I came so on the conga I love them the so which come up on the under I fire them
Hello, is there any minute that the host can mute people? Hello? Is there any minute that the host can mute people? The microphone are getting bad in this place. Is there any minute that you can mute the microphone, host?
We just they penetrate.
Okay, just hold on.
I just want to say, oh, thank you, Jehovah. See, I'm living large, I get angels so for my ghetto. Never forget where I come from, not from ghetto. Oh, no, 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 no. I just want to say, oh, thank you, Jehovah. Ure keneri wo tu go, Father, 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 Adekwamu no ya no, Father, 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 Father,
I moto, I dey travel go bodo. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
All right.
Good evening.
Okay, so our time is not yet. We're not starting yet. We're supposed to start in a few minutes, in about 10 minutes time. But in the meantime, in the interim, while we just I think we've exhausted our class size. I guess we can just have a small discussion in the very brief time that we have. Please, could you just tell us which country you are connecting from? I can see Johnson is connecting from Nigeria. Fasiu Pepe is connecting from Liberia. Kabina from Liberia as well. Jean Nepo from Rwanda. Please, if I adulterate your name or I pronounce it wrongly, please, I'm a humble dude just trying to get around. Ayobami is connecting from Nigeria. Abdul Hana is connecting from Ghana. And before we continue, happy Nani Day to those of our friends from Tanzania. I thought I saw somebody from Tanzania here. Okay. Yes, I can see Nugzolo from Wester Cape. I can see Mark from Ghana. Mark is from Ghana, is greeting us. Fasiu Pepe. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Pepe.
Yeah, Pepe.
Okay, good. Shedrack from Tanzania. Subiso from South Africa, and Kechi from Nigeria. Wow, Funke from Lagos. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for finding time to join us in this. We'll be starting shortly, and in the interim, we have some very, very active children in this room. It's quite a good thing. Let me see what can be done about that. I think that is coming from Home Affairs. Okay. I hope the children will allow us to finish today. Matilda from Namibia, Engineer Jethro from Nigeria, Chooks, you're welcome.
Nigeria. Thank you. I'm from Nigeria.
Nice. Chooks from Nigeria.
Yeah,
all right, so you can see our training is spanning across the African continent. Particularly, we invited people from South Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, Liberia, and a few other English-speaking countries. There's someone from Netherlands who is supposed to be here, a small crew from Netherlands who is supposed to be here, and a couple of our other neighbors. So before now, this has just been strictly. Okay. I can see Uwe from Cameroon. Olufunke, don't worry. We'll definitely handle the muting. But let's just use this period to just chat briefly We would start in about 7 minutes. After that, we would switch to, we'll try to stick to time. Steven from Ghana, you're welcome. Engineer Agbolabi Ochua from Nigeria. Interesting. We have Gaye from Liberia, and all right. So now part of what? There's the famous Chizaram. Chizaram is from Nigeria. He's hiding in plain sight. Okay, so part of the objective of this training is to go over Microsoft Excel. We noticed that there's quite a bit of productivity, a small productivity lag. Now, let me just run briefly, just give a very brief intro about. Okay, this is getting out of hand. Ugwa John, you can't see anyone. Please, can someone assist Ugwa John? I think he probably just has he just needs to fix his mic. Maybe help him out on chat. Hamid is from Nigeria. Shehu is from Lagos, Nigeria. All right, so very brief intro, right? I actually run and organize a company that has a problem of Excel. We actually have a problem of our staff using Excel. Okay, we have to do mute. So we just have a small problem with some of our staff using Excel. Most of the things that they need to use in Excel are actually very simple things like VLOOKUP, generating simple reports and all that. And every time we recruit new persons, we have to now do the whole training all over again, and it can be, very tiring. So we decided to put together some of these trainings, and rather than just limit it to people in the organization, we decided to open it up out to the rest of the world. Initially, we did a test run in Nigeria, and now we are extending everything to other African countries. Now, you guys got a mail. You guys got an email, regular email updates. As things were going on, as we were putting these events together and all that. And in some of those mails, we directed you to a portal, right, where we compiled all of the videos, right? Now, that portal is still open. We use it internally, to train our staff. And from time to time, we update it with soft skills that we think that everybody should know. Like everybody should know. If you work in an organization, you have to know some of these skills. Like for example, Microsoft Excel for finance managers, Excel for sales managers, Excel for HR, PowerPoint, and most recently we updated with Power BI. By next week, we'll be having the Power BI training, and we recently implemented Power BI in some of our report generations, and the output is just fantastic. You can import data from anywhere, from Excel, from the web, from a whole lot of places. Power BI is really, really powerful. And some of the reports that are generated in Power BI is just amazing. Just amazing. Now, Power BI seems to be seems to take the lead, when you are talking about business intelligence reports. So that course is currently on right now. Sorry, it's enrollment for that course is currently on right now. And if you guys want to be part of that training, I will just post the link briefly. I'll just post the link so that you guys can just take a look at the Power BI course, maybe later after the course, and you can, decide to just hold on 1 second. I'm posting the link right now. Yes, okay, done. So, but today we are going to look at Excel. We're going to look at Excel in generating reports. And the reports we're going to generate is mostly, we'll create dashboards, we'll create pivot tables, and we'll use it to generate reports, right? And those reports can those reports can be very, very helpful. You know, normally what would take you like a week to prepare and some of those reports, you can compress that report presentation into probably around 15 minutes, right? Something that normally would take you a week, you can compress it into 15 minutes. So today we are going to look at, in just about 1 minute's time, we are going to start and we're going to dive right into the Excel training for today. So just give me 1 minute, a few seconds, let me just do final check, and then I'll be back and we'll carry on with the Excel. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome back. It's exactly 8 o'clock and we'll be starting our training now. Okay, so you're welcome, everybody from across Africa. Today we are going to be looking at Microsoft Excel. I guess you all can see my screen. If you can't see my screen, maybe say something. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you can all see my screen. You guys are the lucky ones. You were able to get into the Zoom class. Everybody else is going to have to watch us from YouTube. And the link was also shared in the link you all received. Now, just a quick, what's it called? A quick intro. Well, we usually like to start all of our trainings with house rules. Our whole house rules is just guidelines that would help us in maintaining a bit of decorum in this class. So first of all, of course, it's obvious. Please mute all mics. It's important for you to mute all mics so that we can all have a productive session. You know, we have some very animated kids in the house. In order for us to minimize distraction, it would be nice if we just mute all microphones. We'd only unmute them when somebody has to speak. That's why I'm trying as much as possible not to have so much restrictions. There's a lot of persons raising their hands. Do we? I think I should pause at this moment. Okay. Somebody said he can't see my screen. Can everybody see my screen, please? Let me just try and reshare it again. Can we all see my, okay, you guys can see my screen. Okay, all right, good. Okay, so let's move forward. Wow. Okay, all right, thank you. Let's move forward. Now, second guideline is please try and avoid distractions. I know there's very little we can do then, but well, we just have to do our best and we'll have to move on. Nkemjika, you can't see my, okay, all right. Nkemjika, someone is helping you out with the screen situation. So let's try and avoid as much distractions as possible so that we'll spend very little time here. I know all of you are busy. You are all very busy. You have a lot of things that you would rather have been doing, but I appreciate the fact that you are here, and let's just try and minimize distractions so that we can start, finish, and move things. Again, the plan is to spend about 1.5 hours here And then the remaining half an hour, we use it to do things like ask questions, share ideas, and a few other things. But the objective is to spend 1.5 hours in the main content, and then we'll now move forward with other things. Please ask questions. Questions are very important. I love questions. And most importantly, I like feedback and testimonials. It helps to let me know what's going on. You get to be sure that, feedback gives us an idea, or gives me an idea in particular about what is happening and what is not happening, whether you are getting or whether you're not getting. Now, my ideal situation would have been for someone to contribute data from his organization. We will now, of course, scramble the data, but maybe just contribute headers for your organization, what you use on a daily basis, the data you use on a daily basis, and then we'll now use it to prepare the reports, which we're going to use as a case study. But of course, there are issues of confidentiality that we'll have to respect as well for where you work. So what I was thinking is that if somebody has to contribute data from his organization, he will just scramble the figures and scramble the numbers, change all the numbers and maybe use random numbers. So we can now use that format to move forward. All right, so do we have any additions to the house rules? Do you want to add Power BI link, please? Igefemi, if you just follow that link I just sent you, you would see about 5 courses. Power BI is the first one, and all the other courses are just listed there, just for posterity. As a reminder, sorry, I'm sending you the link again. Thank you. So does anybody want to add anything to our house rules? If it's fine, we can move on. We can move on quickly. This is about 5 minutes into our time, and we seem to be making good time. All right, Taylor, thank you. All right, so thank you very much, everybody. So let's dive in very quickly and make things work. Okay, just give me a few minutes. Let me just share my screen again. All right, so we are going to be using Excel. We'll be using Excel Microsoft 365. That is the most recent version of Microsoft Excel. It was formerly Office 365, but Microsoft had a change of heart and decided to name it something else. Now, we are going to pull some data from here, and we're going to use it in our small exercise today. And from that data, we are going to do a whole lot of iteration. Just hang on 1 second. Okay, right. So before the commencement of this class, someone suggested that she wanted to see something relating to HR, sent email and said she wanted to see something relating to HR. Now, part of the problem, and she complained that most times it's usually sales and marketing that you usually have as examples, and she wanted to see something among the human resource side. Now, one of the response I gave to her was that because the sales and the marketing guys usually have transactions very regularly, right? They generate a lot of data. They can afford to generate a lot of data, and it makes for a very, very good example. Now, HR, for instance, there's a limit to the kind of data that you generate unless your organization is very, very large and you have parameters that you can. Otherwise, HR's data is a little bit more slower compared to compared sales and marketing does. So unfortunately, let's use sales and marketing this time around. But this time around, I'm going to use actual or close to actual data, right? Close to actual data from, actually it's from my company, where it's close to actual data, and we're going to use it to generate a whole lot of reports. Now, what we have here is a small report that shows, so for a company that does marketing for several hotels, this is a sample data that it generates. Now, what's happening here is that this is a data of all the bookings that have been done in several hotels, across several cities, right? Across several cities. So what we are going to do here now is that we're going to take all of this data and we are going to analyze it, and we are going to generate a couple of some reports from it. Johnson said no audio. Can someone help Johnson, please? Oh, that seems to be common. Can everybody hear me, please? Fasu Pepe, can you hear me? Okay. All right, someone should help Johnson out. I think maybe Johnson is probably browsing with his phone, and he probably selected dialing connection. It can be a little tricky when you do dialing. You need to use the option of listen from the. You need to use the option of listening from the web. Okay, Ebo, Elizabeth, Yinka, Joyce, Israel, thank you very much. I can see your feedback. All right, so let's run quickly so that we can cover quite a bit of ground. In this data, we are going to make a little bit of changes so that our data is going to span across. We're going to have some reasonable data that can demonstrate, what we are trying to do. Now, so here we have booking IDs, the rooms, arrival dates, number of nights spent, rate, amount, hotel, phone. This is supposed to be the phone number of the guest, but I had to remove it for privacy purposes. There's supposed to be the name of the guest as well, but I also had to remove that for privacy purposes. Special request, this is also supposed to be the special request of the guest, which we had to remove for privacy purposes. Then city and country would also be here because we would use that for our plots. So let's just make some changes to this so that we'll be able to we would have data that spans across. So right here we have a Tenor Head Lodge and Spa from. This is actually a hotel this Tenor Head is actually a hotel in South Africa, but let's just assume that they have opened up a new location in Abuja, Nigeria. So maybe we should let's just stick to Nigerian cities just to make things, or let's just go all the way. So Newcastle Hotel, someone should give me a city in, let's say it's in Monrovia. Monrovia is in Liberia. Let's assume Labs New World as well is also in Monrovia, Liberia. Then we have Tulia Zanzibar Unique Beachfront. It's also it's in Pongwe, Tanzania. Let's assume Pennsylvania Avenue Hotel is also in Pongwe, Tanzania. Let's see. Assume Shoregate Hotel is in Accra, Ghana. Shoregate Hotel is quite much. or let's just assume all of these hotels down to Statement Hotel are in Accra, Ghana. So let's just quickly minimize this so that we can see our things properly. Obviously, this is in Lagos, Nigeria. That's Whispering Palms and Hotel and Resort. It's in Lagos, Nigeria. I think that is what covers the rest of our data. Our data is about 407. Our data size is about 407. Okay, so now we have a whole lot of data here, right? About 407. These are 407 entries. Now, this data came from December 2019, right? It's just arbitrary values that came from December 2019. Yinka wants me to do a video recording. Okay, Yinka would have a discussion after now. So this data came from December 2019. So this is just the activity across board for some properties. Now again, we are going to assume that each of these entries, right, relates to a booking, a specific booking. For example, you can see this last booking, 408, was for Marina Villa suite, which is 2-bedroom. It was booked for December 31st, 2019. It was booked for 1 night. The cost of this booking is 56,000 naira. And the hotel is Whispering Palms. The location is Lagos, Nigeria. So that is, we can have other data, right? Other details, but this is just a small sample data that can work. For if you're using phone, I hope this is not too tiny, because I hope this is not too tiny. Okay, all right. Chinedu Muliadele Bamidele, I can see your messages. Thank you very much. You are connecting from YouTube. But if your phone is small, please, my apologies, would see. I don't know what we can do about that, but there's a possibility that the data would probably be a little bit, the numbers could probably be a little tiny for you, but, oh, it's okay on phone, Philip Essien. All right, okay, no problem, that's good. So let's move on. Now, this is our data. Oh, we need to get rid of this. Let's get rid of this entry since there's technically nothing here. Okay, nice. So the first thing we will need to do is that we need to summarize all of this data, right, into one large table, right? Now, of course, I know you're going to ask, is this not a table? Yes, this is a table. This is an Excel table, but we want Excel to just recognize only where we have the data and take everything and put it inside a unique table. So the first thing we are going to do is that we'll just simply do Control-T on the shortcut on your keyboard. That's one way to do it. And then you have this small guy, this little guy pop up, right? When you do Control-T. Another way to solve this problem is when you do something like Insert. You click on Insert and come and select Table here, making sure that the cursor is inside your data set, right? Once your cursor is inside your data set and you come and click Table here, it will do the same thing. You can see, let me do it again. When we put the mouse over, it showed, this shortcut, Table, Control-T, create a table to organize and analyze related data. So we click on that. Now, the next thing we are going to do, you can see these dotted lines around our data sets, right? It has recognized the beginning, the end, the boundaries of where the data is, and it's asking you that, okay, where is your data for the table? Is it here to here, as it has automatically detected? If there's a discrepancy or you want to select a table in a different location, you simply mark out where the table is. But since this is this is correct already, we can just go ahead and say that this is correct. Now we have one more option here, one more question here. This option is asking you, my table has data, is it correct or not? If you leave this on, if you leave this checked, this entire first row would be taken as the headers of the table. But if you remove this, this first row will be taken as part of the data. So since this is part of the header, we will have to leave this here as my table has headers. And we'll say, okay. Now, notice what has happened. First thing I need you to notice is this. First of all, my ribbon has changed. We now have table name, and we have a couple of other new options here that came out as a result of this table design. First is I want to change the name of this table so that it will be for me to recognize it further down the line. So let me change this my table to, let me change the name of this my table raw data. Hit enter. Okay, so after we've done that, the next thing we need to do is that I would like to summarize my table with pivot tables. This is where the fun is beginning to start, right? The fact that we are creating pivot tables is where the fun is starting. But before that, let me just quickly do something very quickly. Here, down here, I have sheet 1, right? I want to create 2 more sheets. So let me just click the plus. First time, I have a second sheet, click the plus a third time. Now, this is how I see, we have our data here. This is how I personally like to organize pivot table. I like to rename this my sheet 1 as maybe source data, for instance. Then I'll take sheet 2, I would rename it as dashboard. And then I'll take my sheet 3 and I will now call it pivot tables. I will explain why just a second. I want to bring my dashboard to the first, so I have my dashboard first, source data second, and pivot table. In fact, let's push source data to the very end, and so we'll have pivot table in the middle. Now, what I'm about to do is that I'm going to create multiple pivot tables, and I'm going to bring all those pivot tables to this my pivot table page to make it easier for me to organize. Then my source data is here. Whenever I have new data to this table, I will just continue to add them to the source data, right? And then here, this first page is where I'm going to design my entire dashboard from beginning to the end, however I want to visualize it. Okay, so let's move. Back to the source data. We want to come back to table design, summarize with pivot table. Now, I need to define where I want my source, my pivot tables to be. Remember, we created this tab here. So let's go and change the location to existing worksheet. Click on this so that I will define a location and come and put it up here. Click on that and click OK. Is anybody lost? I think you can unmute your mics now if you want to ask a question. Igefemi said, why did we create a table when we had one? Okay. Ochu he said, I'm lost. Somebody, Tony said, take it again. Okay, all right, no problem. So, Augustine Ifeanyi said, no. Junta, okay, all right, I can see you guys. Kibine, you said, can we have sample data for practice? Well, we'll see. You said if the data is a big blur. All right, so Adebayo, don't worry. Let's take it again. Let's start all over again, right? Okay, so let's do a little bit of undo until we get back to the very beginning. This was our data that we assumed that, say we, for example, exported it from somewhere. For some of us who use some applications like Tally, like Sage, like some sales application and all that, most times you'd have the ability to be able to export your data in CSV or Excel formats, right? So this is assuming this our data. Sorry. For those of you who are asking for recorded videos, let me just take it at this point. I don't think we'll be able to do recorded videos. We'll post recorded videos on the site, but okay, we will post recorded videos on the site, but it might not be free. I think it's probably best for us to just try and pay attention to this video try as much as possible to get as much as possible, you get, because, well, they said now is the best time. So, all right. So back to what we were talking about. So when you export this data from, for example, your CSV file application, right? Now, you can bring it here to Excel, right? And just dump it in this page. And from here, we'll now begin to do all our iterations, and we'll begin to do all our iterations to, sorry, I think that was me. We'll begin to do all our iterations in order to set up the pivot table and the dashboard, right? So, but the first thing we need to do is to, first of all, import everything to Excel, right? Before we now start our manipulation. Sorry, my apologies. I think, yes, okay, all right, I've gotten that. So we are all familiar with how we got here. Here is not confusing, right? Getting up to this point where we have our data arranged in Excel formats like this is not confusing, right? Okay, hey boy, Elizabeth, I can see you. Peter, yes, I can see your reply. Yinka, I can see your reply. Grace, I can see your reply. Okay, fine. So now, from this point onwards, right? Please, someone should help out System Tech. He has lost audio. So from this point onwards, what we are going to do is that from this point onwards, we would need to create a table. Somebody said, why did we create a table when we already have a table? Here's the reason. The entire Excel sheet is a table. It's one big table, one giant table. But the reason why we are creating another table is that we want to define this location from the beginning down to here, down, up until you have your 400 and something, right? Up until here. We want to define this border, right, as where we are specifying as a table. We want to tell Excel this particular place with this particular boundary is where we want to consider as a table, right? Because all of the manipulations we want to do, we want to refer to that table. Now, in this entire worksheet, we can create as many tables as we want, right? But for this particular example, we are first of all telling Excel, this is our table. We have defined the borders and the boundaries of the table. So we can have this data, and then we can now come and create another table from here, create another one here, create another one there, and all that, right? So the first thing we need to do is just tell Excel that recognize this data sets as a table first, right? We are going to use this for some other calculations, and we want to be able to refer to this table, right? Okay, so again, shortcuts is Control T. Otherwise, Dowdy, don't worry. Just follow us. Everything will be clear very soon. So first thing we'll do is that we'll come to Insert and we'll click on Table, or we'll just use a shortcut of Control T, right? Now, when we click that table, tell Excel that, oh, this is, see, Excel has detected data here, from here down to the very end, right? Down to the very end, 407, right? Now, it's now asking us, Excel is now asking us, does your table have headers? Is it just random, figures like that? So we'll leave this on because we have headers at the very beginning. We have, the tables are named already. We have booking ID, room, arrival date, and all that. Otherwise, if we didn't have this first row, we'll just remove this and we'll carry on, right? So let's leave this on and let's click OK. Now, notice what happens. You can see some of these drop down things here and here and almost everywhere. We can use these to sort. We'll come back to that later. And if you also notice at the very end of the table, you would see some kind of a boundary. You can see this sort of a boundary here, right? Okay, let me just do this differently. Let me just remove all the formatting on this table so that it will be clear first to you. Let me see, no border. No border, okay. All right, so let's do the table again. Insert table, good. Now you can see this blue and white, 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 right? It's kind of like designing our table for us, giving us a kind of helping our table to stand out, showing us that our table is standing out. We can actually come here and change the design to whatever we want, but that's not very, 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 very relevant to what we are trying to do. Aha, you can see these blue lines. And at the very end of this, you will see a border down here. Now, if we go and add another data, you can see where this border is. If we add another data, right, for instance, just come and start adding another border, would jump from here and jump down. So you can see it has now jumped down to accommodate the new border, the new data that we are entering, right? That's one of the reasons, the advantages of creating this dynamic table, right? As you add more data, right? As you export new data and append it here, it just recognizes the new data, as part of the data that you want to work on. Okay, so now the next thing we are going to do real quick, I hope we are good so far with where we are. All right. Okay, fine, good. So the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to start creating our reports and summarizing everything. That would need to go to table designs. We named this table, by the way, we named it source data, no space. And the next thing we need to do is that we'll come and click summarize the pivot table, right? Now, just follow. It's going to be clear very soon when things start unfolding. The pivot tables we are going to create multiple pivot tables. We need somewhere to organize all of the pivot tables so that we can now plot different data with the pivot table. So we are going to come to existing worksheets, click on this guy, come to pivot table and dump it somewhere up here. Click back this and say, okay, voila. So this is the base of our pivot table that has shown up here. So anything we put in now building block. Now the next thing we need to do is to just define the data we want to compare. Once we define the data we want to compare, everything will now show up in this pivot table. You get? Okay, fine. So now let's move forward. So the first thing I want to plot is the hotels, right, with the total volume of transaction done by each hotel, right? Very easy, very simple. Let's so for us to do that, we'll come here, make sure our cursor is inside this pivot table. Of course, we can come and come to pivot table, analyze, and come here to change the name of the pivot table. I want to change this to hotel, hotel totals. Okay, you understand? You will see the reason why we are doing this naming a little bit later. So the first thing I want to do, I want to come and select hotels here, drag this hotel to this field, this row field here, and you can see the list of hotels have shown up here. Then the next thing I want to do is that I want to go and take amount. This is the total amount that has been done per transaction. So I want to take amount and drag it over to values and dump it there. Now, you can see in these values, first of all, you can see we have the hotels here and we have the amounts here, right here we can have some, we have sum of amounts. Now there are many options we can change this sum of amounts to, right? But let me just show you what happens first of all before we go too far away. Now, each of these hotels, what just simply happened is that we take each of these, what has happened is that Excel has summarized each of these hotels. For example, Tenor Head Lodge. Tenor Head Lodge is from, the entry of Tenor Head Lodge is from here to here, right? The corresponding amounts for each transaction is here, from down here to up here. So what Excel has simply done is to add up all of these amounts that corresponds to Tenor Head Lodge and bring out a value. Now we can test it and see is equal of Tenor Head Lodge starting from here and add, starting from here and adding it up all up onto here. Now you can see the results is 1,603,000, right? So let's go and see what we have for Tenor Head Lodge. That's 1,603,000 exactly, right? So you can see, oh, by the way, and Excel is trying to add this data. So let's just take it back to status quo. So what has happened here is that it has taken each of these hotels and added up the sum of all of the amounts. Now that's going to help us in our reports, because our reports would like to see total performance of each of the hotels. Now, of course, to make this a little bit look presentable, I can select this entire row. I can select all of these figures and come and change it to comma style, and then remove all of that. Way to add some styling to it so that I can easily recognize that this is 1,060,000, this is 16 million, this is 5 million, this is 550,000, and all of that. If I did not have this, right? If I did not have this styling, it would kind of be difficult to know what is going on. Here we'll have to be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that can be very confusing. So let's just leave it all like that with a little bit of some very basic stylings. Yes, okay, Bright Johnson, you said what if the names of the hotels are mixed up? Yes, if the names of the hotels are mixed up, it will still sort out everything, it will still add up all the Tenor Head hotels, all the statement hotels, and still give us the results. As a matter of fact, this data by default is not supposed to be sorted. It's not supposed to be disorganized. This was just me being a little bit meticulous, or more organized a little bit. But this is supposed to be sorted by this booking ID from smallest to largest. So you can see there's different hotels. There's 4 Points, Shoregate, Whispering Palms. So this is how the data actually comes, right? So it's still the same thing. It will still add up all of the hotels, add up all of the hotels and summarize everything this way. So let me take a few questions. I can see a few persons are raising their hands. I guess you can mute your mics now so that you can. Galaxy, A70, and a Lucas Simon. So go ahead with your questions while you can mute your mic, or mute your mic and go ahead with your question. A Lucas Simon, you have the floor. Simon?
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. All right. I wasn't really following up. I have my Excel sheets here, and the Excel I have is 2013, not the Microsoft 365.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can still be carried along with the class, because I'm a bit lost here. You said we should create a pivot table, so I'm a bit lost in that area. Hello?
Okay, Simon, here's what I would suggest, right? all of the features that we are seeing here, you will see all of them in your version of Excel, right? You will see them all in your version of Excel. There are only few deviations, from Microsoft Office 365. But what I would suggest is just hold on first with running your Excel. If you try to listen, watch, and practice it at the same time, you will get lost. Trust me, it happens to me a lot. So I think the best thing for us to do is just hold off first, just pay attention here, right? Just pay attention first so that you would understand. If you want to take brief notes, like very brief notes, you can take brief notes, but nothing detailed. Once your attention is deviated in 2 places, I guarantee you get lost. Fair?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Galaxy A7, you have the floor. A70. Galaxy A70. Okay, so I think he's not ready for us yet. All right, so in the meantime, let's continue. Andrew Enang. Esther Peter, you kind of need a pivot table, but just hold on. I would show you everything. Everything will make sense very soon. Esther Peter and Oladayo. Oladayo, we need to move forward. We can't keep going back and forth, right? I'll do my best to see. Okay, let's just move forward. Okay, so Home Affairs, don't worry, we'll talk. So let's move forward. Now, this is the first thing we need to do. I want to see performance of each hotel. Now, here's one thing we need to observe. You can see these hotels are actually arranged alphabetically from D, F, H, I, and all of that. But the data is a little bit scattered, right? Now, I want to arrange this sum of amounts from by ascending order or by descending order, right? In some kind of order, somehow. So here's what I'm going to do. Since it's easy to sort this one, it's not too easy. It's not too straightforward. It's easy, but it's not too straightforward to sort this. Sorting this, we'll have to go through some other indirect routes. So here's what we're going to do. We click on this small arrow. We go to more sort options. Remember, we want to sort this sum of amounts. More sort options, and then we'll now come and say sort by ascending order A to Z. So you can see here we have hotel or sum of amounts. This is more like the, I don't want to call it universal sort method, right? Or sort table for pivot table. But from here you can sort, you get, as long as it's part of the table, you can sort it. So let's sort by sum of hotel in ascending order, which is A to Z, smallest to largest. You can see it has now sorted it 27,000 naira for Newcastle Hotel and 16 million for Whispering Palms, right? Now, let me show you why we just sorted this. The next thing we need to do is that we need to create a chart, right? To summarize this information we have just summarized, we need to present it visually. So we'll come down to analyze pivot charts. We'll come to pivot charts, click on pivot chart, and we'll simply look for one chart and select. Now, Excel is already selecting some of these charts for us, but let's see whether there are other styles we can, let's, for example, review. Okay, I think column chart seems to be fine. This 3D is a little messy. Let's just take basic and simple column charts. Okay, click on OK, and there we are. I have my chart, right? Now I have my chart with all of my information. You can see the names of the hotels here. You can see the figures, the totals they have done, and you can see, let me see if, I think I want to take another chart. Let me go to let me take another pivot chart. I think I want this. Yes, this is what I want. Okay, so here's the reason why I wanted this chart instead. It's easier for me to see my hotel names arranged in this order, right? That's why I wanted this chart in particular. You know, the other chart was, it was a little funny to read the hotel names. You have to be turning your head and all that, but this makes things a whole lot easier, right? Now that we have this information, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to right click here and I'm going to do cut. Then I'm going to come to my dashboard and I'm going to paste it here. Right? Here's my chart. Okay, so what I want to do before I leave here is that I want to make this chart a little bit presentable, because here in this page, we're going to have a whole lot of reports, charts and reports expressed visually, you know, displayed visually. So I want to find, okay, Ochua said you don't know how the chart was made. All right, we have a question. All right, go ahead. Someone just raised his hand now. Okay, all right. So let me just do this chart again. Ochua, please pay attention, right? Because it can get a little bit. Now, Ochua, so far, it appears you understand up to here, right? You understand how we got up to here. Okay, all right, Jerry, go ahead. Let's take your question. Jerry, you have the floor. Jerry Sakwa. Okay, while Jerry is trying to put himself together, let's move forward. All right, so here's how the chart was made. We just simply selected the pivot table, right? Of course, we'll have all these options come out. Then we went to pivot table analyze. We came down to pivot charts, clicked on pivot charts, and we simply looked for a design that is fine enough for us. We have different types of designs we could have selected. You know, there's area, there's everything, but we went and selected bar charts, and we selected something really nice. And there we are, there's the preview, and that's what we selected. Okay, so we now did cuts, came here and cut, went to the dashboard and pasted the chart here. So briefly just put arrange this a little bit, something presentable. Now, I want to get rid of this total. This is, okay, before I get rid of the total, let's name it, this is total performance by hotel. Let me get rid of this legend. Let me increase this a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so this legend, here's what I want to do here. I want to click twice on this, and then I'll have this window, these bars. I clicked twice on it, and I'm going to come here and reduce this width gap, right? You can see as I will reduce the width gap, it makes this fatter. It just simply reduces the gap between the bars. Just reduce it just a little bit to something. Let's make it 50 so that it can be, you know, consistent. It can be stable. It can look fair. Okay. Now, I want to okay, let me just leave it like that. All right, so now you can, it's a lot more visible now, right? Rather than the thin bars we had initially, right? So we've had, let me take this up a bit. We now have one data set, right? Now let's go and bring in more data sets and fill up our page. All right, so going back to the source data, what else can we plot? let's plot total by country. We have, I think about about four countries or thereabout here. So let's plot total by country. Let's plot all of the Nigeria, all of the Ghana, all of the this and that, plot all of them together and have totals by country. Now, what we'll do now is that we would now do another, come back to this pivots, sorry, this table design. We'll come back to summarize with pivots table. We'll just do exactly the same thing we did the first time. Click on the location, or we want an existing sheet. Click on the location, select pivots table, we'll come and dump our data here and click on OK. Now, in this pivots table, we are calling it, okay, here's the name. Let's name it countries, country totals, right? So what we are going to do now is that we are going to come to country, select country, bring it to rows. Then we would now go to amount and select it and put it in values, right? So very briefly, we can see the contribution of each country, what each country is contributing to the total pool, right? So let's do a little styling here, a little design here. Click that, click that. So you can see the contribution of each country, right? Now, for these particular countries, we can easily do 1, 2, 3, 4. We can now come back to do this our design again. Click on pivot chart. This time around, I think I want a chart, a pie chart. Let's see, let's just do a regular pie. A regular pie chart will be fine. Click on OK, and there we are. We have our regular pie chart. So once again, let us cut and come and paste it in this, our small dashboard. And then we can resize this. Let's see, this is. Okay, so let's resize this. Let's resize this so that we have it aligned like that. Okay, now we can add a title if we want. Let's see, performance by country. Okay, let's see. I guess we can move this around. Let's just leave it there. Okay. Okay, fair enough. All right. So now we have our performance by country. I think I would have even liked to have legend, to add a legend into the country. Let me see if that can work. Okay, don't worry. Let's leave it first. Now, so we have the second data. We have our second report, right? Our second report is now performance by country, right? So the first report was performance by hotel, which gives us the hotels that are doing what in summary. And then the second gives us performance by country, right? It gives us which country is doing what value, compared to the total pool. So here you can see, I think this is Liberia. Liberia has 2% contribution. This is Ghana. Ghana has 23% contribution. This is Tanzania. Tanzania has 4% contribution. Nigeria has 71% contribution. About that. All right, so let's look for 2 more values. Let's get two more reports, and then I think we should be done with this, our sheets. Let's just do a little bit of aesthetics here. Okay. Right. Now, let's look for a few more reports here. put a few more reports here, and our dashboard we can carry on with our dashboard. Okay, so what else should we add here? Oh, okay. Let's add something called ADR, right? ADR is an average daily rate. So it's more like in your entire hotel, right? What is the total amount of, what's the average amount you have sold for your rooms, or you are selling for your rooms, right? ADR is more like, is one of the parameters used to measure the productivity of hotels, right? Normally, when you look at total performance, the next thing you will now look at is average daily rate, which is ADR. So let's go and get the ADR of each of our hotels. Now, we create another table. Come back to table design, come back to summarize with pivot table, do what we did exactly before, click here, come to pivot tables, let's put it on that here, okay, and then let's do okay. All right, now, and then the data we want to be in this pivot table for, let's just, let's name it ADR. So what data do we want? We want this to be the hotel name in the rows. Now, the values now can now be amounts. The values now can now be, okay, let's use rates instead, because amount would have to find the average. Let's use rates instead. Now, instead of using this rate, we'll just go and change this to average, right? Now, it's going to give us the average rate that was sold for each room at the time. You can see the average rate has been calculated here, right? The first thing we used before was sum, which is for one hotel, right? It will add up all of the figures we have for rates, right? Add them all up to all of the 4 points by Sheraton Lagos. It will add up all the figures and show it as a total, right? But this time around, we don't want the total. We just want the rates at which the room was sold. So you can see here we have rates here and we have total amounts here. Now this amount is actually this rate multiplied by the number of room nights stayed, right? For example, this is 30,000 is actually 15,000 multiplied by 2, right? So we want to get the average rate that was sold in the hotel across board. Now, let's deal with this data a little bit. Let's give it 2 decimal places or no decimal, well, round it up or round it down. So we have clean figures here. Now, we would now do, let's plot a different chart, another chart, or better still. Okay, here's what I want us to do, right? I want to copy these figures and pull them over to our dashboard like that, right? So here's what I want to do. I want to come here and let me divide this into 2. Now, this is another tricky part. You guys should just pay attention to what I'm about to do. Let me merge and center this first row, then do the same thing for as many of them as possible. Then I would now also merge and center this and do the same thing down. Now here, watch what I'm going to do. First of all, let's call this hotel, and then this is my average daily rates. And we can do a little bit of styling. Okay, before we style, this is now equal to, now watch what happens. I will jump back to my pivot table and I will go and select this guy, right? You can see the Rembrandt Hotel is now selected. Then I would now drag this until I get to the end of my hotel. But the end is what? Whispering Palms. So which means we need to drag it one more time. Yes, Whispering Palms. Okay, let's do left. Now, we succeeded in pulling this data from what we had here in the pivot tables, right? Now, the next thing we are going to do is that we've pulled the names of the hotels. We now want to pull the average rate. That's what we'll do. We'll come to this ADR column and we'll do is equal to pivot table and click on this guy and press enter. Now, watch what happens. If I take this and drag down to the end, we're just going to have only 38,000 naira from beginning to the end. See that? All we have is 38,000, and I'll explain the reason. The reason why we have that is, if you look at this, you see this long, plenty formula. Right now, all this formula means get the value from a pivot table in A16, where the hotel name is the Rembrandt Hotel. But we do not want this to be hard-coded for it to be the Rembrandt Hotel. We want it to refer to this figure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out this entire the Rembrandt Hotel, press delete, and simply come and select this guy. It will actually replace, this B20 is actually the same thing as the Rembrandt Hotel, but it's not like hard-coded. It has now made this a variable. So when you now, so remember what we're getting before was just tell me the corresponding figure for the Rembrandt Hotel, but this formula now says, tell me the corresponding figure for whatever we have inside the cell beside me, right? So for this, when it comes to this guy, it will now say, tell me the corresponding figure for the whatever we have where the name is the cell beside me. So it will just continue and continue and continue and pull all the figures, as you can see, right? To give you an example, Statement Hotel is 30,000 naira. Statement Hotel is 30,000, right? Now, Laps New World is 16,250. Let's go and look for Laps New World. Laps New World is 16,250. Now, here's what I would do. Let me deal with this a little bit. I would give it a little bit of styling, reduce the decimals and all that. Now, I want to introduce a new way of putting this together, a new way of what's it called, of displaying this information, right? So I would simply select all of here. I will come to conditional formatting, right? I will come to data bars. Will simply come and select any data bar of my choosing, right? Now, here's what is happening. What is happening here is that it has converted each cell into like a small graph. The beginning of this cell is 0, and the end of this cell is somewhere close to 43,670, right? So it has just plotted the entire figures we have here, right, to correspond with the length of this cell. You get? Does that make sense for you guys? Okay, Shedrack, you said I should go back to where we generated the ADR. And Johnson said I should repeat the process again. Chooks, how come you're not seeing? Okay, let me just quickly try and reduce screen share. Probably that is the reason why some of us cannot see the data. Okay, so Chooks, can you check whether you can see the data now? Okay, Tolu, I can see your message. Donald Muga, I can see your message. Adenike Alabi, I can see your message. Thank you very much. You guys are doing well. All right, so okay, let me just leave this first. All right, someone is saying something. Simon, do you want to say something? Simon, you wanted to ask a question. Mr. Fash, good evening, sir. All right, so let's move on. It seems everything seems to be okay. Now, you see how this data is a little bit scattered, right? This data is scattered because we did not sort it. This is by in alphabetical order in this form, in this by hotel. So there are two things we can do. We can simply come to this pivot table and sort from here, right? We can say, as we did earlier, remember when we sorted from here, from smallest to biggest. Now let's come and do a similar sort. We can come and sort from, we'll come to more sort options. Then this time around, let's do descending order by average rates. When we click OK, we would now have, when you come to dashboard, you can see all of your data is now neatly sorted and beautifully arranged. So you can see the hotel with the highest ADR is Shoregate Hotel, right? It's doing 43,000 Naira and change. And the list is Newcastle Hotel, which is doing 13,500 Naira and change. Right? Okay, so we had a high performing hotel here, Whispering Palms. You can see the ADR for Whispering Palms is not so fantastic, it's 23,000. So it just simply means that Whispering Palms was able to turn over more volume. So we can actually even add that to, right? We can add average daily rate and we can add, we have average daily rate and we can add, should we add room night sold? Okay, let's just leave it at this average daily rate. All right, so there's one very key report I wanted to introduce, but before we do that, let's just do some styling here. Let's make this bold. Let's change the color to a little bit of blue so that it matches with this guy. Let's make it a little fine. Okay, I think that's tried. We can even increase the font size just a little bit to make it beautiful. All right, so we have space for one more report. Now, you can actually organize your dashboard however you want it to be organized, right? But if you have more variables to present or more variables to display as your report, we can have all of that as well. But let's just see. Okay, so what other, so do you guys have questions? Let me just stop and take questions just briefly before we go on to the last report. Oh, Fash, sorry. Okay, all right, Fash, please do it again.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. I'm loyal, sir.
I'm loyal to you, sir. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, sir.
I really appreciate this.
Thank you very much.
It's like a refresher course.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I'm really enjoying it. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You are doing great, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't want to disturb. That's why I kept quiet so long.
I get.
Yes.
So,
okay.
in case you guys are new, Mr. Fash is one of our regular audience. He's always around. Always, all the time. He's always around. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Fash.
It's nice meeting all of you.
This time around, we have a representation from across Africa, not just Nigeria.
Oh my God, that's good. That's lovely.
We have people from South Africa, Ghana, Liberia, Tanzania,
wow,
and Cameroon, I think.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Rwanda too.
Right.
And
Rwanda.
And Rwanda, sorry, Rwanda, the nanny guys. Very key.
I can confidently tell all of you that you are on the right path. You are right. You're on the right path. Since I started attending this class, I've made tremendous improvements on my work and even improving my own CV as well. I've been able to do so many things that many of my colleagues, they now see me as a professional, though I'm a novice. But
Mr.
they
Vash
are
is
seeing me as
being
a
modest.
professional.
Mr. Vash has become very, very good.
I'm telling you,
Fact,
that's a
he's
fact.
shining right now.
just 1 hour, 2 hours spending here, it's not a waste. I'm telling you. But only thing, Mr. Weke.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of all, I would just appeal to you if you can make that video available, because many times you miss some things while discussing it, or the voice or the sound will be off. But with that video, you can go back, look at it again, please.
No
I know
problem,
I know it's not easy for you, but
no
that
problem,
will help
no
so many people.
Okay, no
They
problem,
can go
sir.
back
No
to
problem,
it
sir.
and do it again, please.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir.
Okay.
We'll
I
find a
really
way
appreciate
around
your
it.
efforts.
Every problem has a solution, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Fash has spoken, so
please, sir.
There's little we can do.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
you, sir.
So you're welcome, sir. Carlo Chizaram David.
Yes, I don't know if you can take back that pie chart. My network was really bad during the time.
The pie chart, okay.
I just saw the dashboard on the pie chart. On how you generated your figure.
All right, okay.
All right, okay.
All right, no problem. I've noted that down. Olubukola.
Okay, hi. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. First lady speaking.
Okay, all right.
I was beginning to think all of us are bone to bone. Go ahead, go ahead.
All right then. My only question is, I got lost at the point after you had created the ADR, and then you moved to the dashboard, and then you made some parts merged. I didn't know what you were doing, and I got lost. I tried to replicate, but I realized that I was doing rubbish. So I don't know if how you can help with that.
Okay, all right, that's fine, no problem. All right, so let's go back. Chizaram said we should look at things from the pie charts. Okay, so Olubukola, let's just do some undo. Olubukola, you are fine up to here, right?
No. So when you created before you created Hotel ADR, you did some merging. I didn't know why you did that, and you were able to put those data into that.
All right, I understand. Let's go back. Now, up to here, everything is fine for Olubukola, right?
Yes, please.
Good. So here's what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to take advantage of this boundary, right? Maybe let me just give it a color. I wanted to take advantage of this boundary and create something close to a tile like this, right? You can see this boundary is here to here. This other report is here to here. The next report is here to there. So I wanted to just create something inside here. So I wanted the entire report to just be inside here, right? Now, here's what I did. I simply just use your, I don't know what to call it, best judgment to just divide this place into two, right? Okay, let's say I could take here to here, the first three, I can assume, or let's make it the first four. Okay, let's make it the first four. So I'll just do here to here because I already have an idea of what I want to get at the end, right? I'll just take this first four and then I'll come here and do merge and center, right? Now, first of all, I've highlighted 4 cells. Merging and center will just mix everything together and it will become one block, one cell, right? So around it, you still have different cells. Now, I now came and did the same thing here. This part, okay, let me leave this one first as yellow. This part, right? I know that my hotel names are going to be here. So I'll do the same merge and center here, right? So now, just to separate them, let me separate them with colors. I now have 2 cells, right? 2 blocks. Now, coming down to the pivots table, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 hotels. So I want to prepare the ground for 12 hotels to come in here. and 12 hotels, 12
Average.
ADRs to come in here. Also remember that I have a title that I have to deal with. So I have to prepare 13 cells, right? So here's what I just simply did, is to just come here. I already have one, so I just do drag 1, 2, okay, this is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? And then I'll come and do the same thing here. Oh, before I do that, if I remove this color, this is what I am going to see. I'm just going to have cells down to the end. I'll do the same thing here until I get my 13, right? And if I remove the color, I will just get, again, cells, right? Now, I've prepared the ground for where my data will arrive. Now it's now time to start bringing in the data. I will now type my header here, hotel, and then ADR here, right?
Yeah.
So I will now come back here, and I want to now go and pull the data from the pivot table. I will say it's equal to, just leave it as it is, jump to the pivot table, select my first hotel, and press enter. And my first hotel has shown up here, right? Now, I would now, with my mouse point, my cursor on the hotel, I'll simply come to this corner, changes, and I'll now drag it until I have my last hotel, Whispering Palms Resorts, right?
Okay.
Now, let's pull the data from the ADR. The same thing is equal to pivot table. I will come and select this guy. Take note that my last data here is Whispering Palms. So what I should have in the other table should also be Whispering Palms as well, right? Press enter, and voila. First of all, I have my Whispering Palms here, and my data is here, right? Now, in order to make this figure to be dynamic, I would remove this hard-coded hotel name here and come and select this. So it means that it will only get data from whatever is it. So the reference cell will now be this cell beside it, right?
Okay.
So I can now come here and drag this guy to the end, and I'll have all of my figures. You get?
Yes.
All right. So let's clean this up. Do float to the left. Come here. Do that. Reduce the decimal points. Then come to conditional formatting. Go to data bars. Count any data of my liking or choosing. Okay. I think I'm feeling purple today. Then what else? I can now come and go here, do a little bit of adjustments, change the font size to something close to purple. Oh, there's no purple here. I think it's probably something darker. Something darker like that. Okay. Fantastic. So to sort my data, I'll just leave this guy here, go back to the pivot table, and come and do my sorting routine. More options, descending order, and by average rates. Click on OK, and my data is sorted and it's looking beautiful. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much.
So the pie chart for Carlo Chizaram.
Okay.
Okay. You said you don't know how we got this chart, right?
Yeah, how you generated the data.
The data. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
I just
go
saw
and...
my network went off. I just saw the chart.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let me just, it may be difficult to start going back and forth. So let me just run through it again. That data came from here, right? Now, let me replicate exactly what I have here. Then I can now undo, and then we will now continue, right? Okay. So here's how we got here. From the source data, we just simply come back to table design, table design, summarize with pivot table, as usual, existing worksheets, We'll come back to pivot table, click on that, click on OK, right? Then after that, we will now come and select, we need two pieces of information. We need the countries and we need the amounts, right? Now, we need the country and we need the amount. Now, we will simply come here, this we'll come to country, drag it over to row. We will now come to amount now, right? This amount is the total amount, just like what we want to get here. We'll simply drag this amount to the values and voila. There we get.
Okay.
Carlo, are you there?
Yeah.
So
that means
of course,
what this means is that all the hotel in Ghana now, this is some.
Yes.
We get this 6384000.
Yes. Now, remember, it's a little different from what we did here. What we did here is average of rates. Right? Now, average of rates came from, in this source data, we have rate here and we have amount. And this amount is equal to rate multiplied by the nights they stayed.
Yeah.
You get? Yeah. Okay, so in this report here, what we did was average of rates. We want to find out what's the average that 4 Point Sheraton Lagos has sold in. This is data from the very beginning to the very end, right? So we are considering this the average rates of the room. In hotel, in hospitality, it's called ADR, average daily rates, right? Now, it's a little different from this other information we are trying to represent here. This is the total amount that each hotel has done, right? Yeah. Sorry. Now, okay, just like we have these hotels here, right? This is grouped by hotel, but here we are grouping them by countries. You get? Okay. Yes, that's the difference. This is grouping by hotel, and this is grouping by countries. You get? Aha. So, like, of course, Ghana would have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 hotels put together. Liberia will have 1 or 2 or 3 hotels put together. Nigeria and Tanzania each will have 1 or 2 or 3 hotels grouped together. You get? Aha. So that's how we came about this report, right? And of course, the pie chart is easy, right? Before we get, we just simply just made some styling and then came down here to analyze. We just did pivot chart and then we came to select pie charts.
Pie charts, okay.
You can see.
Yeah.
Aha. So life is easy. We have our pie charts, right?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So we can undo now, right?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Many people are raising their hands. Bright Johnson, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much,
sir,
for introducing, explaining in detail and with patience the nitty-gritties of Excel. Please, I want to ask, can we analyze more than 2 variables, for instance, amount, rates, and country at the same time? Because the instances you've given are just 2 variables, maybe country, amount, ADR, and hotel. Can we analyze 3 variables at a time?
Yes, the answer is yes, you can. You can analyze as much variables as possible. But the issue now is that you would have to decide, there's a lot of things to decide. If I go to analyzing 3 variables now, it can cause a little bit of problem, right? For example, let's take this, let's add this rate. Let's add this rate to this amount, right? You can see we have rates here. Now, we can do, this is sum of rates. We can even change this sum of rates to average, for instance, of rates, right? So now what I've just done is that I've mixed this report with this report, but not really this report per se like that, because what this report is hotels, and what I have here is countries, right? Does that make sense? So what we are just doing is all of the hotels in Ghana we have found that we are working with. We've simply found the average rates of those hotels, and then the total sum that all those hotels did is 6384002. You get?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can add as many rates, as many variables as you want. Let's even add number of nights sold, total number of nights sold, right? So you can have total number of nights sold for all our Ghanaian hotels is 152, for our Nigerian hotels is 800, Liberian hotels is 32, Tanzanian hotel is 33. I hope also note that this is for just 1 month, the month of December 2019. So you can add as many reports as possible. But what you are going to have to figure out is that how do you want to present all of this information in your charts? You get?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you'd have to decide how you want to remember the objective of this dashboard is that when when everybody is running around in the hotel and doing their job and all that, putting everything together, what they will simply do is that, okay, well, one of the good ways to apply this is that everybody will just continue to add their own data here, That's at the end of this sheet, right? At the end of the month, you just come and add more data. At the end of the month, you just come and add more data. But your bosses or the supervisors or the chairman or people who are responsible for making certain strategic and tactical decisions, they don't have business with all of this source data. Their own is just to come to the front, refresh the data, get the most current information, and then with the information they can see on their dashboard, they can make intelligent and strategic decisions. You get?
I'm with you, sir.
Okay, so whatever you do, right, your objective is to decide on how you want to present your hotels, your data, right? Because at the end of the day, the consumers of your data they will just come to the front and look at, okay, what's going on here? This is that, that is that, that is that. Okay, let's make this change and let's make that change and let's make this change and let's make that change so that will now help this and that and that and that. They will just look at this dashboard and to make strategic decisions and move forward. Okay. I hope that has addressed your concerns as much as possible.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Engineer Victor, good evening, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Thank you very much for this for this great opportunity. I'm actually joining your class for the first time. Wow. I think I must have missed a lot on your other topics.
Wow.
Yeah. What I want to ask is on the pie chart.
Yes.
Is there a way we can incorporate display the percentage on the pie itself?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. Of course. That's not a problem.
Okay.
The percentage now, let's see. Okay, we'll just simply do, let me see. We'll just simply add legend. Let me just see. All right, so while we are adding legend, is that your concern, sir?
Yes, exactly. Either the figure or the percentage or whatever.
Okay, so you can see that it's displayed now, but let me see if I can quickly, let me see. I think the percentage will require, okay, I'll find a way. I'll work on the percentage now. And just keep watching and you'll see how it will happen.
All right, thank you very much.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Ichi.
Hello. All right.
All right. Chooks.
Hello, this Chooks. Okay, please, can we get the video because of this screen issue, most times I couldn't get the necessary information.
Okay, no problem. We'll work on that. We'll work on that, sir. All right, Bright Johnson.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you've given me audience.
Yes, finally.
Audience, you've answered my
Okay,
question.
okay. Let's see. Do we have other Engineer Victor? Okay, so Engineer Victor, let me just show you very quickly. Now, this is, let me just see. Okay, so two things can happen here, Engineer Victor. We can easily just come to this amount and just change this value here and change it to percentage of grand total, right? Once we change it to percentage of grand total, remember what we have it, this is the amount, showing us the amount here. So we can change this to percentage of grand total, click on OK, you can see the percentage has changed here. And when we come to the dashboard, you will see the percentage showing here, right? I think this is even easier. This is even better, much better than having to just leave it empty like that. You get, because at a glance, you can see 70%, 1.8%, you know, you can see all the percentage at a simple glance. Okay, sorry, I hope you know how I did that.
Please, no.
Sorry?
Please repeat that.
Okay. Okay, so it's just very simple, right? I simply came to the chart, right-clicked the chart, right? Then went to add data labels, right? Then came to add data labels here. Once you click on that, it just shows you the figures here directly, right? Now, to show percentage, I came to pivot tables. Then for what we have here, we have numbers here. I will just come down to values and change this to value field setting, and then come to show value as, change this to percentage of grand total here, right? Once you select this and you select OK, everything just changes to percentage at once. And once it changes to percentage here, your chart has also changed to percentage. We have some children in the house. Mr. Chooks, thank you very much. Okay, so you can see everything just changed to percentage. The labels just changed to percentage directly. And in fact, let me see. Okay. So I guess this is fine, right? All right, so there is one more thing I wanted to do. Let me see if it would work. All right, let me just try. If it doesn't work with countries, Sunny, you want me to repeat it? Okay, this is an old message. All right, so here's what the next table I want to do is, let me do summarize with pivot table as we're doing before. Existing worksheets, create the pivot table there. Now, this time around, I want to do city, and I want to do amounts. Right? Now, let me just clean this up a bit. Ouch.
So,
Adeleke, that's quite a noisy place. Oh boy. Okay, so what we are going to do now is that, now you see these cities. I wanted to do it with countries, but let me just do it with cities. Countries, cities, countries, cities. I think we should do countries. Let's use countries instead of city. Okay, good. Now, this is one of the beautiful new features of Microsoft Office 365. I don't think you'll find this in any other version of Office except this version, right? You can actually plot a map of this information that we have just generated here, right? Now, first of all, let me just clean this up a little bit. So here's what I want to do, right? I want to say this is equal to Ghana. And then I can bring this down. And then this guy is equal to that. And as we did before, we can come and remove this guy and put this cell. Then we now drag to the end and do some cleaning up. Now, with this data, I can simply come and do insert, click on map, and click on this guy. I hope I'm not going to be disappointed today. Oh, aha, fantastic. Very good. Now, this chart shows me the distribution of, okay, this chart shows me the distribution of this information displayed graphically, right? Okay, let me just make some, let me change this back to cities and see if this guy would misbehave. I just have Abuja, Accra, Lagos, and Monrovia. Oh, I still have Kowe. This is equal to that. Change this from to that. Okay. All right. So this chart, it gets data from Bing. It's supposed to refresh and get data from Bing. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so let's just make some changes first. If it doesn't work, we'll go back to our same old countries. Now here's what happened here, right? Okay, so this is giving us problems. Let's just go back to our countries and all right, good. So all of this information we have here, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and Tanzania, represented by these figures, 6.3, 0.5, 19.6, 1.1, is now represented graphically here, right, as a heat map, right? So this now just gives us a whole heat map of countries, right, according to this chart. Now, I could have plotted this directly here, right, but the problem is that this map closely is powered by Bing. So before this map is generated, it has to do some data interchange with Bing and all that in order to get this heat map and import it into this our chart. So what happened here is that this map does not work with when your data is inside the pivot table. So what I had to do first, I had to bring the data out here first of all before I generated this map, right? Wow, there's a lot of talk. Whew. Ogechi, the offline version of Microsoft Office 365 is available on Microsoft website, but I think you have to subscribe. You have to make some payments first and you have to subscribe. Can someone help Moses out? Moses is a little bit lost with his audio. Hopefully someone should help him out. Okay, all right. Moses, your mic seems to be off and on, off and on. Senior man, we'll talk about the link in a bit. Let's just conclude first. Okay, so now you can see this chart. This chart is a new feature that comes with, I think it started with Office 365 or so, I'm not sure. Olubukola, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So I was raised my hand
Oh, we lost you there briefly.
If I can say that, I wanted to ask a question, which was analyzing more than two. Can you hear me now, please?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So I said, Okay, so I have no issues with what you are working on currently. I wanted to ask a vital question that's one I asked before, which is analyzing more than two variables. I think that's very important. I'm working on the data that I have, so I'm just going ahead of you right now. And I discovered that I couldn't do the two when I drop it on values. Yeah.
You couldn't do the two.
Yes, I was trying to compare. I was trying to compare a price of my organization with that of the competition, and I couldn't do that.
You know, it depends on the data you have.
Okay.
Let's see. Compare a price. All of your data is in the same source, right? It's in the same. It's in the same sheet, right?
Yes, it's in the
Is
same
it
sheet,
very?
in the same
Is it
table.
very confidential, or can we take a look?
I'm not working with my laptop. I'm working my laptop offline, and I'm watching over the phone. So there's no way I can share my data right now.
Oh, okay. All right. No
You can do a dummy. You can do a dummy, right? I think that would make sense.
Yes. That's compare price with two prices.
Yes, please.
Ooh, it may be difficult. We still need to understand the context a little bit.
Okay, no problem. I'm
okay,
sorry
but
for taking us back.
No, don't worry. That's why we are here. So what issues are you having? You are getting an error, right?
So when I drop, okay, so I have the product description. I have the price for my organization. I have two competitors pricing for that same product in the market. So I was trying to do a comparison of our low performing products. That was what I was doing. So I have that data right now, but I was trying to see how I can actually put that on the dashboard, and I couldn't do it. So when I started with the pivot table, although I have the data raw, maybe I could do what you've done before with the ADR style. I could do that. But then again, I wanted to see something that would give me sort of a graph that shows exactly the differences. Why is it? Because the pricing of the competition was better, or what exactly happened? Just to tell the story around it.
Okay. I understand. Okay, but here's what, let's see if we can do something close, right? You'll have to try it on yours, but let's see if we can do something close. So you have a table like this, right? A summarized table like this, right? Where you have this first row being, this first data being the product name, and then price, your own price, and then the next one now is supposed to be the competitor's price, right? Olubukola. I think she Olubukola, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, I think she's offline. But just in case you come back, try and, here's what you just try and do. Try and just have, in these values, try and have, let your two figures be numbers, right? So first you have amounts here, right? And then let's say this, for example, if this amount is your own price, and then you now need to add your competitor's price, I just hope that your competitor's price is also in numbers, right? Because if you try to do something like, let's say, try to drag hotel name, it's going to show up, in a, okay, this is even count of hotel. It even shows up, but it's best to have something like two numbers, right? So that you can now do the count of numbers or something like that. I don't know if you get. It appears you're either disconnected or your mic, but whatever the case, I'm sure we'll continue the discussion soon. Adeleke Amos, go ahead, sir. You have the floor. Okay, before we just, Adeleke, I'm sorry. Before we take your question, let's just finish up, wrap up, place back this chart where we wanted to place it, and then just carry on. Now, let's say this is so let's just simply do cut, come back to the dashboard, and place the charts here, right? Okay. Okay, let's little beautiful. All right. So this figure is revenue by country. right? I don't think we want this to be here. I think we can safely take out this. Right? Then we can also safely make some changes here. Aha, maybe we can then take this out. Then make a little changes, look for something that jumps out. Let's look for a color. Good, I think this color jumps out. All right, good. So fair enough. So we have Nigeria, we have Ghana, we have Liberia, and then we have Tanzania over here, right? So at this point, we with just a little bit of small tweaking and adjustments. Let's just make some small changes, add a little bit of a label here. Of course, we'll merge this, do another merging here, then we'll just give this our small dashboard a title. Let's say reports hotel performance reports for Africa. Okay. Let's make this a little bold. Let's do some small style. Okay, then can probably add a small bit of color here. All right, so yes, so we are now done with our dashboard. We can afford to print out this dashboard if we want, or just leave it this way, you get? Then we can probably do, let's say we can take out the grid lines, and then we will now frame everything into one big, beautiful frame. Okay, so one big, beautiful frame will now come to, we'll just do outside borders. Okay, nice. So now we have our dashboard all set. Now, whatever we do, anytime so this is now what we'll now print. We can now print out. Let me see if we can quickly do page layouts. No, sorry, view page break preview. Good. So anytime, once we have this dashboard all set up, right? Set up in this manner, right? Anytime we want to generate a report, like for example, in the office, we'll just pull the data we'll just pull our data from our source data, just come here down to the very end of where our table stops, right? Just paste the data all inside here, from here to here, and paste it down to wherever it stops. As we paste this data, all of our will now come to dashboard, and everything here just refreshes automatically, right? So the total time it will spend it will cost you to start doing all this analysis is not be necessary. All the time that you'd have taken to do all of this analysis will be greatly reduced. Once you paste the data and come here and refresh, everything now just shows up here from start to finish, right? Okay, so I think we can take questions now. Everybody has been chatting. Jerry, you said we should repeat what we did with the frame. Yves, I hope I pronounced it correctly. I think we'll sort that out. Please, the 360 map, assuming we are using different cities, can we use a particular country? Oh yes, Galaxy A70. Yes, we can actually do cities in a country, right? Cities in a country alone. For example, if we are doing Nigeria, we can do Lagos, Kano, Abuja, just cities in that country alone, states in that country, counties in that country. So some people call it, some countries call it county, some call it states, some call it province, right? Adeleke Amos, just a second, I'll be with you soon. So it depends. But the thing is that your data has to be, okay, let me just do a sample, for instance. if we have Lagos State, right? We have Kano State. We have Edo State. We have Abia State, Ekiti State, Rivers State. Then let's just assign random values to these states, right? Now we can, the map just simply has to recognize that these are states. Once it recognizes these are, sometimes it can be a little troublesome. Aha, okay, good. So now it has recognized these states, plotted the maps accurately, well, very well, and then assigned heat maps to them. We can change the design of these maps anyhow we want. I hope that answers your question. So you can do the same for different countries, but the key is just for this map to recognize that this field, this value here are states in the country. If it does not recognize these guys being states in the country, then Moses, boy. Okay, Mr. Deliki, go ahead, you have the floor. Mr. Deliki. Okay, so Mr. Deliki seems to be trying to sort out other things. Okay, all right, go ahead.
I said the time my own group should start is 10 o'clock.
Sorry?
It's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. I just joined some minutes ago, and then what you have been doing. Is it that you are going to start again by then?
Oh boy. No, sorry. What? Mr. Deleke, you are in Nigeria, right? You're in
Yes,
Lagos.
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You know, in the mail you got, different countries have different time zones. For example, I think now it's around 8:51 in Ghana. I think Liberia, it should be around 8:51 too as well. Tanzania should be around 11 or so. South Africa is 10:51. So all those different times are just the local times that for people in different countries.
Okay, this is 9:51.
9:51 Nigerian time, yes.
Yes, and I'm expecting it to be 10.
No, it was actually 8 a.m. 10 o'clock was when we were supposed to finish, right? But it was supposed to be 10 o'clock for, I think, the Tanzanians, people in Tanzania, you get. But the mail was actually 8 p.m. Nigerian time.
All right, sir.
You get.
So,
but don't worry.
How will I make up with the?
Don't worry. We'll have a discussion.
All right, sir.
We'll have a discussion later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. All right. So, do we have more questions? This is our roundup period. This is where we are rounding up things. Do we have questions? Questions? Now you can unmute your mic. Guy, did I pronounce it correctly? Avame, you have the floor. Okay. Donatus Iwe. Go ahead. Okay, the house seems to be silent. All right, so while we are rounding up so far, let me see. So, so far we've been able to complete our dashboard from start to finish. Now there's actually more to dashboards and all that. It depends on what you want, the information you need to represent, right? The information you need to represent to the decision makers, people who need to make strategic decisions. This is just a sample, right? There are other cases where we could, with a click of a button, we'll sort all of this data by months, by, financial year, or by any other way we sort things out. Now, to download, if you want Microsoft Office 365, you need to just go to Microsoft.com, and I think they have a version that is 14 days trial, right? They have a 14-day trial. Is it 14 days? I think it's 14 days. You can try it out for 14 days, but of course, in the 14 days trial, some of these functions will not be there. Like this map, for instance, they are very touchy about this function. They leave it on only when you have paid. Okay, so thank you all for showing up. Once again, if you want to see all of these tutorials and trainings and courses and all that, you can check our portal where we just put it all, we'll just put it all out there. I'm also sharing you the link to the portal. Okay, sorry. I'm sharing the link to the portal now to everybody. Once you check it out, you take a look at, you see all the courses we've done so far. Next week is very interesting. Next week, we are going to be looking at Power BI. And if you want to enroll for next week's training, now is the best time to start, because we might have to stop the class at 100. You notice that if you are not able to, if the class size had gotten up to 100, then Zoom will not allow any more entries and anybody else to enter, right? Okay, so Israel Kennedy, you have the floor. You wanted to ask a quick question. Israel Kennedy. Oh, okay. I think I put everybody on mute. Okay, so you guys can unmute now.
Hello?
Sorry, I didn't know. Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Wake.
Good evening, Israel.
Thank you for the session which you just had. It was quite interesting and educative. A quick one, just like you just mentioned about Power BI. Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to do some data analysis also to with Power BI, and it looks more like what you're doing, what we just did now. So I want to ask, as a professional, which one do you think is more better or more presentable? Doing it with what we just did now, or using Power BI to do the visualization of the data?
It depends on you. It entirely depends on you. There are many things to consider. There's you, the organization, the reports you have to generate, and especially the source of your data, right? Now, one of the cool things about Power BI is that you can pull data from almost anywhere, right? From Excel, from even the web, from almost anywhere. One of the projects I was working on earlier today, we actually pulled data from, I think it's World Health Organization. We pulled data from International Monetary Fund, right? Just to do our analysis. So we don't have to start having to download the files, convert to Excel, do a whole lot of, we just specify the URL, pull the data directly from there, and finished all of our analysis. It totally depends on you, right, and your organization. I would suggest you pick what works best for you, right? If you are the only person who is using the data or the analysis and all that, you probably may want to consider Power BI. But if you have to use, maybe you have to share the file, or you have to teach some of your colleagues and all that, you probably might want to use the easier Excel first of all. Start with the easier Excel first of all, you get, in order to minimize complications, you get. Because if you start using Power BI, it means that you have to teach the whole office Power BI. and they will now maybe they'll now make you HOD of data analysis, and you have to teach the entire office. And the bad thing with that is that any day you leave the office, everything will just freeze. So you need to work, you need to pick what works for you as a person, your organization, right? If everybody is willing and available to learn Power BI, then by all means, Power BI is a whole lot more, it's a lot more powerful than just Excel. Excel is just everything from first principle from scratch. But Power BI, you can, there's some, you can simplify some things, set up some, do some simplifications here and there. Maurice.
Hello, sir. Yeah, Wiki, it is very much important to extend thanks and gratitude to you for this kind of, very important tutorial here. This is just the very first of its kind in this part of Africa, and I really appreciate you for this. But I would really appreciate if you could further, extend this particular exercise beyond today, because internet connectivity in Nigeria is kind of very much unbecoming. We find very much so much interest in this particular exercise to the extent that you recommend that you extend your program beyond today, because there are a lot of things that we tend to learn from this.
Sure.
Okay, yes, yeah, you are right. So, but what we've been doing before now, right, was we more or less have a class every weekend, right? Before now, all the classes we've had was mostly Nigeria. This is the first time we are expanding to other African countries, right? So we have people from, like you said, Ghana, South Africa, Liberia, Tanzania, Cameroon, and a few other places, right? We would try to make this as often as possible, to have these as often as possible. But one of the things that help, right, is if you send in your challenges, right, the challenges you're having in your organization, right, then we can now use that as like a small case study, right? Obviously, I'm not asking you to send in your company's sensitive information. Even if you have to send that in, scramble the data, change all of the data so that it does not make sense to your competitors, right? Now, if we now get those sample data and then you now describe the kinds of problems you are facing, then we can now use that as a case study to now, review everything and all that. We've done Excel for sales managers, for education managers, for I think we're supposed to do for tax computation before things changed a little bit. So once you send in the challenges you are having, scramble the data, we'll now use that to now, practice some of these, run some of these practice. Does that work for you?
No, specifically we are requesting that you do this particular exercise that you have done today. We want you to maybe whether you could consider it in your next schedule. We want you to do the entire exercise for the next program, because we have so much interest in it and we have not been able to entirely cover the entire exercise. I don't know whether that is convenient for your schedule.
No problem. It might not be every day, but weekends are best, right? But just send me an email. We'll have a conversation about it and we'll solve the problem.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
No problem. Yes, okay.
No, can you hear me?
Chooks?
Yeah, please, I'm not getting the video yet. Even the past classes.
Hello.
I'm not.
The video and the video for the past classes and this current one. For more practice, please.
Portal.
Thank you.
Yeah, talk about the video.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Moses.
Yeah, that is actually my concern as well. The video for past classes and the current class we just had will be necessary for us for practice purpose.
Yes, they actually, I just sent them. They are on that link I sent to you. Let me see if I'll send it again.
But I opened the link now. I'm seeing PIB stuff, but no that. I
You're
couldn't
seeing
get
what?
the. No, I saw PBI stuff, and I couldn't get the information for the past class. Is it not the one that is showing your master class courses?
All right, let me just briefly, very briefly, right? Very, very briefly, because we've actually exhausted our time. Let me just briefly show you what it looks like. Right? Please bear with me. We have exhausted our time and we should be shutting down any moment from now. Okay, so now here's the link, right? When you log into the link, here's what you see. Oh, sorry. Well, you're actually supposed to see this, right? This is what you saw, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's what I saw.
Fantastic, right? If you click this or scroll down, you would see all of the courses. This is Power BI. This Power BI is going to be next week, Saturday. So these are all the previous classes that we have done, right? Now, first of all, let's take Excel for Education Managers, right? If you click on course description, you see a description of what we were supposed to do. Now, the course actually started on July 11th. We did nested if statements, we calculated a whole lot of plenty stuff. But normally, to get access to this course, you'd have to make one small donation to the ministry. But assuming you have made the donation to the ministry, this is what you will get, right?
Okay.
You would get this, right? You would have access to this. You will see this is this is the initial introduction, the foreword, right? Then these are the lessons, right? The first lesson is just, I think the first lesson was how to install Microsoft Office 365, right? Then this is the details for the Zoom meeting, which is about to also vanish. And this is the live class, right? Every other thing is practice assignment and classwork.
Okay.
So you can see. So I can play this now and you see this is the live class.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. So this is me playing.
Okay, so what's the cost implication to get registered for the?
It's not serious. It's about $1.99. It's just very minor, small stuff.
Okay,
but
$1.90. So what should Nigeria currently? What should be the equivalent?
I don't know, about 400 and change, or about 500 and something like no. I think it's about 800 or thereabouts. Okay, but before we get there, let's. So now here you now have the entire class. This is the entire fully recorded class. You can hear the audio, right? So this is the entire class.
The audio is not playing.
Okay, yes, I put the audio on mute, right? So that it will not interfere with what we are doing, right? So you have everything from beginning to the end. Let me try and maximize it. Yes. So this is after we had done the installation of
365.
Yes, when we were installing Microsoft 365, we did all of that, and then we now started the main. This is where we opened it. We now started the main stuff, and then we now good. This is where the fun began, where we were calculating a whole lot of nested if statement and a whole lot of things. It was actually very interesting. So this was an if inside an if inside an if inside an if. It was actually very, very interesting, and Chizaram was, very, 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 very involved and engaging. Mr. Fash too, also, he worried with plenty of questions. But we had fun. It was interesting. And there was even a practice assignment. Let me see if I can get that. There was a practice. Okay, there was a class worksheet here, right? There was a practice assignment here. Somebody's typing aggressively.
Hello?
Yes, okay, Mr. Chooks, let me mute him a bit.
Okay. Yeah, this is Vani.
Yes, okay, you're welcome, sir.
Yes, internet connectivity from Liberia as well, Morovia.
Oh boy, it's horrible.
I just joined lately. I was struggling to get on board, but at least I managed to listen to part of the conversation, and I must first up commend you for going beyond Nigeria and reaching out to other West African states. Like you said, it's good to do it on weekends because everybody kind of busy. For us, we have this huge traffic congestion. So weekends are due. Yeah, we will follow the link and try to make our minimum contribution in an effort to support this endeavor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you. And I pray that God will give you the blessing, the strength to continue to impact knowledge in young people that will help transform our continent and the world large.
Thank you very much, Vani. You seem to be a very good speechwriter. Thank you very much. I appreciate. But over time, you know, we'll get to find a way around some of these things, right? For example, internet connectivity, like you said in Liberia, well, would have to find a way around it somehow. But I think one of the best things to do is to record the session and then maybe send to you. You get, or maybe host it on this platform so that as time goes on, you know, you can just review gradually. Yes, exactly. So it's maybe like a live stream.
Well.
All right, no problem, sir.
Well. Yeah.
All right, no problem.
The two Masari and Rachel and Masari. Yeah, they both us from the same community. Just imagine. I was shocked to see them both. We live in the same community. Yeah.
You call them when they put on.
You got more Liberians. You got more Liberians that online tonight.
Okay. Moses Camus.
Yeah, Moses Camus. I'm here from Mike TV, Canada City.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, to be frank, I think the tutorial is kind of interesting because this hinges upon our entire professional practices across the globe. It's not only limited to Liberia, but it's globalized. If you are an accountant, if you are an engineer, if you are a tax consultant, you need this particular kind of knowledge to be able to navigate Excel efficiently, to be able to do qualitative reports. If you lack the knowledge to do such report, there may be some deficiency, lacking, thereby resulting to maybe an unsuffering, kind of a block in terms of making report. But honestly, I will talk to the tutorial later to be able to come back with the particular tutorial. So as the fact that we want to understand the dashboard and how the dashboard works, it is very much important to us in Liberia for us to know how it works. And I want to really extend my thanks and gratitude to everybody on board today who are listening to the tutorial, telling us how to navigate data when it comes to the issue of presenting our reports and navigating complex data to be able to get understandable reports. I think it is important from that point. And this doesn't serve only to Liberia. They serve across Africa. I think with this, it strengthens the quality reporting across the continent, which I really appreciate and admire from the host.
Thank you very much, Maurice. It seems this has become a continental renewal with people from across the continent renewing, meeting themselves online. This has actually been interesting. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for staying up to this time, but unfortunately we have to go. Once again, I'm posting the link of the portal to the chats so you could take a look at it. You also get a follow-up email with other details and all that. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for staying up to this time. I know you probably have a lot of things to do. From our friends from Tanzania, once again, happy Nani Day. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you from South Africa, from Lagos, Nigeria, from across Nigeria, from Ghana. From Ghana, very important. Ghana, you guys we're always fighting with you guys and making up.
Our network is really bad where we are. That is.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Please, can you send the account details and hello, the account details, right? Yeah.
Account? No, just go. There's no need. Just go to the portal. Can you just go to the portal and everything just flows from there, right?
All right,
so our friends from Liberia, from Cameroon, from across Africa, thank you very much for staying up to now, and see you guys later.
Thank you, Mr. Nweke. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you very much.
Bless you.
Really appreciate it.
It was nice. Thank you, Wiki. We appreciate it.
Mr. You are not becoming an international.
Yeah, thank you, Wiki. We appreciate and we hope to have you next weekend.
Yes, next weekend.
That was very well.
Thank you. You'll get an email for next week's. Thank you very much and see you guys later. Good night.
Good night.